joined now by Kris Gardner, Houston Roundball Review. We've had Kris on the show before. And Kris, thank you very much for your time. Is tonight's game, whoever survives, which more is important? Physically or emotionally, the pressure of these two teams that get right in your face?
Wow, that's a great question, Smoke. Thank you for having me on the show. I'm going to say the Cougs want to win this game because they don't want to be swept by Texas Tech. Tech is the only team that has beaten the Cougs in Big 12 so far this season. So some pride's in there, but they're still up 3 games over Tech. If they lose tonight, they'll still be up 2 games, 3 games to go in the Big 12 regular season. But from a pride standpoint, the Cougs win the regular season championship. They don't want to have that cloud hanging over them. We lost to one team twice. So I think they're going to really go for it tonight to get this win on the road.
This is a team that doesn't seem to miss any beats, and they have that one loss. If somebody's not doing well, somebody else picks it up. LJ Cryer was just drunk with power the other day. Maybe you've never seen him like that in his entire career. One of the great performances. What allows them to do that, especially when maybe it's not down low that wins a game for them? Maybe it's the guard play, or the guards are all over the place and it's down low that night.
Paul, it's a great point. This year's Cougar team is different. Yes, the defense is there. That's been a constant. In some games, the defense has not been up to previous Cougar teams' standards. But offensively, they're different. They're more versatile offensively with LJ Cryer, Emmanuel Sharp being a better three-point shooter from range, more consistent, shooting 40% from 3. So the inside game with Juwan Roberts, if teams like Texas Tech, they opted to go to Juwan Roberts pretty much one-on-one down the stretch in that first matchup. So that was an advantage for Houston. Some teams like Iowa State double-teamed Juwan Roberts. So LJ Cryer had options to get it done in Saturday's game. Milos Uzan stepped up. So this team can beat you inside, beat you outside, based on how the opponent plays defense. So that's one big difference from this year's team is on offense.
LJ Cryer is on a heater. Paul, you're right. He had 28. He's on a run. That has not always been the case because there's always so many options. He doesn't always have to be. But can you kind of explain or describe the kind of momentum he seems to have right now, and at times has put this team on his shoulders?
Agreed. LJ, I think his hand, the knuckle injury that he had maybe like 3 weeks ago, is kind of subsided. But the confidence that Coach Sampson has in LJ has worked on his game. His one-on-one game has improved, working with Quantas White, associate head coach for the Cougs. And LJ is at that point, and Coach Sampson is as well, that he trusts LJ to be the team's best one-on-one player in those matchups. And you saw it against Iowa State. And Coach T.J. Otzelberger gave LJ credit. They played well, the Cyclones did, even though they were without 2 key starters. But the difference was LJ Cryer one-on-one beat them, made some tough shots.
Confidence is a hell of a thing.
Tech got them last time because it's one of the few teams in the league that can kind of match them athletically at all the spots. JT Toplick, all of that. How do you think they combat that this time around?
Well, JT Toppin was ejected in the first matchup early in the game on a horrible call. That's an aside, but that's another story, another time. But Coach Sampson said he admitted after the game, Texas Tech was the tougher team in the Cougs in that first matchup. And Coach Sampson does not like that, does not stand that. So he has challenged his players to be the tougher team tonight, and we'll see if they can get it done on the road. With JT Toppin playing tonight, it's going to be different because the Texas Tech won the game first time from 3-point shooting. They made 12 threes in that matchup. With JT Toppin playing tonight, it may not be so many 3-point opportunities for them because they go to him down low.
Saunders from BYU is on a pretty good run. We mentioned Cryer, but I don't know if anyone's playing better right now in the conference than JT Toppin. Is he? Are they?
I don't think so. JT, he was the first Big 12 player since Blake Griffin that put back-to-back 30 and 10 games.
Mm-hmm.
He was, again, newcomer of the week today. He's playing great. So he adds another dimension for the Cougs to defend, not on the inside.
So I asked you this earlier, and you talked about wanting to get that win because of what happened in Houston. But what is more difficult when you play Houston, or even, I think, no question, Tech? Playing them and surviving the emotional part of the game because they're just all over you, and you just could maybe just like break, or the physical part of the game because they're all over you and you just get worn out?
I'm going to say the physical part of it, you just get worn out. Both teams that play so physical, their physical styles just wear on teams, and Texas Tech is different. The newcomers to the conference this year, Arizona State, the Cougs' physicality wore down Arizona State. It was obvious, but Texas Tech is used to it. They adjusted to it last season. That's one thing Coach McCaslin said after their, I want to say, 20-point loss to the Cougs last year in Houston. They had to adjust to the physicality because they wore down his players. Well, they didn't get worn down in the first match in Houston earlier this month.
Kris Gardner, Houston Roundball review with us on 365 Sports. What was it like to have game day in Houston? The stars were out. Obviously, the commissioner was there. Great opponent in Iowa State. A pretty good game, as you mentioned, that Houston ended up being able to take care of. What was just all the buildup and the day of? What was that like for Houston?
It was a great atmosphere, even though the weather was cold and rainy and dreary. Students and fans arrived probably at like 5:30 in the morning Saturday. Well, the doors opening at 7. So it was great. It was also great to see the other UH teams and coaches in attendance for game day. So it's another example of the family vibe throughout the athletic department taking hold for Houston Cougars athletics. And hopefully at some point, maybe not another 6 years, game day will be back in Fertitta Center.
Yeah, that's crazy that a school with that kind of history when it comes to basketball, 6 years, a lot of teams never get it. They never get game day to come. So that's a compliment to what Kelvin Sampson and Houston are doing. Describe to us, I think we know, if you had to describe a combination of dogs, like dogs, how would you describe, which combinations would Kelvin Sampson be?
Oh, would Coach Sampson be? Oh, wow. I was kind of going like a team physical culture standpoint. That's a great question. Probably a pit bull.
Yep. You could put Doberman in there if you want to.
I'll go with those two. Doberman, pit bull.
I don't think he's a Cocker Spaniel.
Not at all. And I think you guys were there at Big 12 Media Day last year. Coach Sampson touched on it about he kind of compared the Big 12 coaches to the dog pound and being, other conferences have like little small chihuahuas, things like that. But the Big 12 from top to bottom is full of pit bulls and those pinchers. So it all ties together.
Yep.
Yeah. Scott Drew is more of like a golden retriever that just got a ton of energy, I would say.
Yeah. A pup. Yeah.
But
right now he feels like he's been in a pen with pit bulls and Dobermans, though. I know that.
What do you feel about the rest of the league when it comes to deep tournament runs? Clearly, when Arizona plays organized basketball, when they're together, they're really tough to beat. Iowa State at full strength is really tough to beat. It looks like Tech is going to be tough to beat. Is there anybody else you see that could maybe put it together, or are teams like maybe Baylor and Kansas kind of outside looking in when it comes to ability this year?
Well, Baylor and injuries is probably going to keep them out, in inconsistency all over in their lineup. But it's amazing, Paul, how this season has gone. The first 4 teams you mentioned, none were Kansas. Who would have thought that? So teams that you would expect to make deep runs this season based on what we've seen so far, Houston, Iowa State, Texas Tech. And if the good Caleb Love shows up every game, Arizona could be in there as well.
Yeah, when you look at the transitions of all the teams that have joined the conference, and we had Gene Taylor, the AD at Kansas State, on as far as the additions, there was nobody better suited than Houston. But I think even those who love what Kelvin Sampson's done thought there would be some sort of maybe, you stump your toe, whatever. And there was early last year. And then, of course, they just went on that tremendous amount of run. They've been good. They could play in any conference, anywhere, anytime. Arizona, for the most part, as you mentioned. But, yeah, Houston, I think in basketball, more set up for this transition than anybody that's joined the conference in the last 2 to 4 years.
And seeing that smoke, I still did not expect them to be 30-4 after 34 games in the Big 12.
No.
I thought they would lose probably 5 games regular season last year and 3 or 4 this year. And to see them only have 1 loss so far in Big 12 play this season is remarkable. They won some games. Kansas fans will attest. They probably got lucky in winning that game in Fog Island. They've won some games by a lot of points. This team they're finding ways to win, and it's a sign of a great team because even good teams lose some games that you probably wonder, wow, how did they lose that one? This team has not done that this year since November. Let's be clear on that.
Yeah, that Kansas game, the one in Lawrence. Paul, remember that one?
Well, yeah, remember it well.
Yeah, that was incredible. That was
well.
how they. What were they down like 6 with 30 or 12 seconds left or whatever they were able to get that. So if in fact they make a deep run, that would not be a surprise. But what do they need? Who else needs to play a little bit better or a lot better, if that, for them to even take this to another level? Because this is going to be dicey tonight in Lubbock because Texas Tech's like looking in the mirror.
Agreed. I think Terrence Arsenault, one of their wing forwards coming off the bench, needs to be good every game from the tournament when the tournament starts, postseason play, starting tonight. They say in Lubbock tonight. The starting big man, JoJo Tugler, got to avoid foul trouble. It's on him. He's a sophomore. He's got to avoid the loose ball fouls and just ticky-tacky fouls. Don't call them moving screens, illegal screens on him. Because when he's on the court, he makes an impact defensively with his versatility, defending on the perimeter, and his shot blocking at the rim as well. So those 2 guys, I think, would be key.
Hey, man, thank you for your time. Great stuff. Kris Gardner, Houston Roundball review with us. Cougars in Lubbock tonight.